Hi, I'm Chris, and I'm going to be walking you through launching and using the Vorpal app for your games. At Dwarven Forge, we love Vorpal Bored because it's the remote play option that feels the closest to actually being in the room with all the other players. You get to navigate the terrain in more detail than any other option, you get to share dice rolls, it's a great experience. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up a room and create multiple layouts, all the cool little features that make Vorpal Bored so useful, and a couple tips and tricks to get the most out of the software. Your gaming group only needs one person with a subscription to make a room, and in my experience, it only takes about 15 minutes to show new players how to use the software. Before we open the app itself, just a few things to keep in mind. Vorpal syncs up the experience for everyone by having everybody's connection and computers share the load. Because of this, I recommend that everybody uses an Ethernet cable instead of Wi-Fi for their internet, just to get a little bit more of a stable connection. But it's not a necessity, so don't stress out if you don't have one. Since Vorpal uses a fair amount of processing power, if you're using an older computer, I'd recommend closing any programs that you don't need to play the game. Keep in mind that every extra connection increases the work that has to be done to keep everyone in sync, so having a whole family reunion might not be the best idea. The software is currently optimized for 1 DM and 4 or 5 players. If you go much larger than that, you might start straining things a bit. It also tends to work best on Chrome, although it should function on most other browsers as well. Alright, on to the good part. To make a new room, you'll need to be signed into your Vorpal account. Once you are, just click New Room in the upper right. In order to connect, you'll need to give the site access to your camera and microphone, so make sure you allow it when it asks. And bam, there you are. If this white grid background isn't your jam, you can click the background color button in the bottom right to open an RGB slider that will let you set the background to every color known to man. Now, if you want to use terrain, and if you're watching a Dwarven Forge video, you probably do, you'll want to grab your phone. Download the free Vorpal Bored app from the store and open it up. You don't need an account on the phone, just click New Game and put in the room number and the code in the upper right corner of your screen. You'll see a number of options here, but the two we care about are Import and Video Stream. Import will let you load in pictures from your phone that can be used for overlays, tokens, spell effects, or any number of things. Video Stream is pretty self-explanatory. You'll get a few different quality options. We tend to use high to get as much detail as possible in every frame. Click Start Streaming and you'll see the video feed pop into your room. Chances are it won't be oriented the way you want right away. You can either right-click the video feed and rotate it, or just press R on your keyboard as a shortcut. Like I said earlier, only one person needs an account. For everyone else to join, you can just send them the link to the page you're on right now and it'll put them right in the game. If for some reason they can't connect via the link, they can type the room number and code in the upper right to join manually. If they're just a black square, odds are their camera's off and it can be turned on by clicking the camera button in the top right. At any time, you can click these buttons to toggle off your camera or microphone, just in case. You can also click the little color palette to change your personal color. We recommend each player uses a different color, and you'll see why soon. Let's talk about making layouts briefly. Usually, a session will have roleplay sections, as well as sections where you're moving around the terrain and interacting with puzzles and enemies. The two most useful layouts, in that case, are the roleplay layout and the terrain layout. First, let's set up the roleplay section. Drag everyone to fill the screen however you please. You can hold left-click on an asset to drag it around, as well as right-click on empty space to move your view of the playing field. Once you have everything looking the way you like it, press Ctrl plus Alt plus any number key from 0 through 9. You should get a message saying you've saved a layout. Now, if you hit Ctrl and the corresponding number, it should automatically set everything back to that saved layout. Now, if you make a similar layout with the terrain, you can just press Ctrl plus Alt plus a different number to save it in a different slot. If you hold Ctrl and hit the two numbers you just saved layouts to, you can swap between them at will. Now, you might notice that some players keep moving things by accident. Maybe not by accident. If you've set things up carefully and you want to stop this from happening, just right-click the object and click the lock button. Now, they can't move it no matter how hard they try. Now, let's go over the player tools that make Vorpal Bored so useful. First off, the pointer. By default, everyone can see everyone else's pointers when they move, and they'll match the color of the player controlling them. This means if you're trying to show a specific square you want to move to, which enemy you want to target, or where you want to drop a spell, you can just point at it, and everybody knows exactly where you mean. The other nifty feature your pointer has is the zoom function. If you hover over a video stream or an imported picture, you'll get a little magnified window showing that area in high quality. It's perfect for getting a closer look at terrain if you're trying to make out the details. The window only shows up for you, so don't worry about it blocking anyone else's view. And if you don't want it popping up, both the zoom window and the pointer itself can be toggled off with these buttons in the bottom right of the screen. Of course, you can't play D&D without dice, and Vorpal's got a wonderful solution for this as well. If you click the D6 in the upper left corner of the screen, you'll open the dice bag. From here, if you click the add switch next to any of the die, you can add it to the corner of your screen permanently. So if you're a paladin using a war pick, maybe you just need a D20 and a D8. Maybe a D6 or a D10 depending on which spells you prepare. Now you can roll the dice in two ways. For a single die, you can just click on the one you want to roll. But if you cast a spell that does multiple D8 worth of damage, for example, you can use the plus and minus buttons next to the die to set it to the right number, and click Roll All. The dice roll at the same time for everyone, so you can have those great group reactions to the result of an important roll, and the result tallies itself at the bottom of the screen for you. And there's a list tracking all the recent rolls on the left side. The dice will match your player color, so you can easily tell who's who on an initiative roll. Here's another nifty little feature of Vorpal Bored. You can actually make custom dice. First, just go up to this hamburger menu in the top right, and you can find the dice builder halfway down. So click on that, say Add, and you can get to building. Go ahead and name the dice whatever you want, select what type of dice you want it to be, and then use the color sliders over on the right side to pick the color of the dice and the color of the numbers on the faces. You can even change what's on each side of the die, either changing the numbers that are on it or even making it text. If you want to get real fancy with it, you can also upload SVG files to make it an image instead. Then just save and close. Now if you go into the dice bag, you can click on the arrows to go over to tabs of the custom dice you've just made. It's not just fun to have custom dice for the table, it can be very useful when you're accounting for multiple damage types. Say you're a paladin with improved divine smite, meaning you do an extra d8 of radiant damage on every attack. Roll a regular d8 and a radiant d8 for your attacks, and you can see right there how much damage of each type is being done. You do need a subscription in order to make custom dice, but they get shared with everybody in the room, so you can make custom dice for your players if you please. Another cool thing you can do is take nice pictures of important set pieces or puzzles in the build, or even make maps or other little handouts, and import them from your phone so the players have it as a reference. You can either make a layout to swap it into the same area as the terrain cam, or just leave it as a small image somewhere else on the field. If you hover over that object and hold spacebar, that image will magnify on your screen so you can take a good look at it. This magnification is only visible to you, so don't worry about blocking anybody else's sight. Also, if you don't want your players to see it quite yet, any image that you import will initially come in flipped over. You can either right-click and press flip to reveal it, or as a shortcut, you can just press the F key on your keyboard, or double-click with the left mouse button. This should cover everything you need to know to play D&D with Vorpal. Vorpal has even more features than this, and maybe you'll think of some applications we haven't. You can always join their Discord to ask for clarification on something, or request features you think would be cool. The team is always active there. If you ever need a refresher on the shortcuts, or if things have changed since we made this video, you can always click on the question mark button in the bottom right corner to get a quick little guide to all the features. Happy gaming!